Hi there, this video here is called Live Seed Clouding.
It sounds
UK
as well.
2022 weather forecast.
Done since 1946. Have they perfected the
Time's down there.
technology? What are the upsides?
The date today is 22nd of August 2022.
So even though this is a technology that's actually been in use for quite some time, the evidence is still very shaky as to whether this is effective.
That's what China's using at the moment.
Some evidence that suggests in very specific circumstances it can be effective locally, but the cloud conditions have to be just right. And what's really important to recognize is that this isn't creating rain. What cloud seeding is really doing is making it rain in a specific place at a specific time, but the moisture has to already be in the clouds. So it's a very short-term solution.
So with the situation, for example, that China is going through at the moment, is that something that could work?
China is definitely taking this technology further than it's ever been used before. This will be kind of an experiment on wide scale. I mean, China has experience doing cloud seeding. They do claim to have been successful in using cloud seeding to stop rainfall as part of the Beijing Olympics. So if anyone could pursue such a wide-scale, unproven technology, I think China is on the cutting edge for this.
I mean, are there any consequences to it? I know you talked there about really inserting, I suppose, a chemical into the air. Where does that go? Or what happens to it? Or is there any problem with it being there?
I think there's a lot we don't know yet, and there's a lot of potential risks. So certainly from an environmental standpoint, we don't know the long-term impacts of silver iodide in the environment. Studies to date have shown that it's a relatively small impact, but there's also studies that suggest that we don't really know what happens with bioaccumulation over time for areas that have been exposed to cloud seeding repeatedly. We do know that silver iodide is a toxic chemical. In the United States, it's regulated under the Clean Air Act. So I think there's good reason to think that there's potential risks here. We also don't really know what the sort of geographic implications and disaster risks associated with wide-scale use of cloud seeding might be. You're essentially, with cloud seeding, taking water and making it fall in one location when it would otherwise have fallen in other locations. So moving the trajectory of rainfall.
I wouldn't play with Mother Nature. Not a good idea.
Operation, and that could have serious implications for places where that rainfall would have originally have landed.
Gosh, so interesting. Brian, what do you make of it? Cloud seeding.
You know, if anybody can do it, it's clearly the Chinese, but it's something that clearly other countries, developed countries, need to focus on too, because it just sounds like an amazing technology that I'm from California, that's going through a drought, that this could be useful with respect to our crops.
I think that is one aspect, however, though, Laura, isn't it? That sometimes it doesn't work in a drought?
Again, the basic idea is that you're collecting the moisture that is already in clouds, so it has to be present. What this is really ideal for, and conceptually, and it hasn't really been very well proven, is for long-term drought management. So improving snowpack, which is obviously in the case of California would be really relevant. But again, this is not a very well-proven technology. It is widespread in use across the United States. So China is certainly not the only country that is implementing this. All of the Western states have cloud seeding programs, and during the current drought, they have expanded these programs quite significantly.
Yeah, I don't know, and I should have checked this before, whether the UK is thinking about something like this, Caroline. I suppose this is one of the first years in a long time that it's really hot. I suppose these extremes of weather like this. What do you think when you hear about cloud seeding?
Well, it's a relatively new concept to me, I have to say, and it almost sounds too good to be true. And it seems like there is more evidence that this technology works. But I'm listening to Laura. I'm not sure we should necessarily see this as a solution worldwide. I sort of remember, I think it was back in the mid 70s when we had a massive drought. There was huge pressure on the minister at the time, who became the minister for the rain, I think. I think they expected him to go out each morning and call on the rain to come.
Yeah.
We have got, obviously, problems here in Europe as well. The Germans are saying only shower for 4 minutes. We've got hosepipe bans. Norway's had the lowest levels in its hydropower system for about 27 years. So it is an ongoing problem. But I'm not going to put all my, I suppose, my shoulder behind cloud seeding as the long-term answer. It sounds too good to be true.
Too good to be true. Laura, before I let you go, may I ask, is there a technology, if it's not cloud seeding, that you think could help majorly in some of these situations that we're in at the moment?
I mean, I think cloud seeding is emblematic of a kind of technology first kind of optimism about the role that technology can play. I think, unfortunately, the answers are going to be a lot more mundane. This is going to be about conservation of water and potentially some transformational changes in how we think about our society. Maybe agriculture in the Central Valley has to change dramatically for the future in California, going back to the example you started with of why China is initiating this right now. Agriculture uses a lot of water, and I think that's one area where we could really focus our attention and get more at the root of this problem. Also, we have to think about development patterns. I mean, the American West is one of the fastest growing regions in the country. It's a very drought-prone region, and we know that's only going to get worse with climate change. And so thinking really deep and hard as a society about what our future looks like and how we want to manage water, I think, is where we really need to be focusing.
Yeah, of course, differing opinions on that as well. Dr. Laura Cole, thanks so much. Really interesting, I have to say, cloud seeding. Something else to think about as we talk about also.
So if you like this video,
of course,
please a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my shot on Sign Gems. The force be with you always, quite by spot. The needs of the many outweigh the needs for you. Please subscribe to my shot on Sign Gems. Make the force be with you always. Bye, anyone.